incumbent Kogi governor Yahaya Bello has been declared winner of the 2019 governorship election in Kogi State.
As politicians, we strive to serve our people in the best interest of our people.
The Nigerian government has filed a fresh 16-count charge against Yahaya Bello, former governor of Kogi State, at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The charge borders on alleged criminal breach of trust to the tune of 110.4 billion naira.
And by the grace of God, I'll never betray the trust of the citizens of Kogi State.
In 2016, Yahaya Bello made headlines across the country when he became Nigeria's youngest ever governor at just 40. For a moment, it felt like a breakthrough, a new era, a youth-driven revolution. He branded himself as the face of youth leadership. But behind the carefully polished image was a far more familiar story to Nigerians. A story of broken promises, power abused, and billions missing. This is the story of Yahaya Bello and how over 190 billion naira went missing in Kogi State.
Yahaya Bello, executive governor of Kogi State.
On the 14th of March 2024, just 2 months after leaving the office as the governor of Kogi State, the EFCC formally indicted Yahaya Bello into an ongoing trial. A 17-count amended charge bordering on money laundering, breach of trust, and misappropriation of funds, totaling a sum of 80.2 billion naira. And just so we can get the facts right, the actual total was 80,246,470,089 naira and 88 kobo. Wild. The EFCC alleged that Yahaya Bello conspired with Daudu Suleiman, Abdusalam Hudu, and Ali Bello, his nephew, to steal and launder these funds. But Yahaya Bello and his co-defendants Hudu weren't going down that easily, at least not without a fight. They felt like they were above the law and ignored several attempts by the EFCC to get their appearance in court. The trial was already ongoing and continued in Bello's absence. During the trial, Yakubu Ghana, an agent for a property owner, testified that he sold the property for 950 million naira to Ali Bello and Suleiman, who were acting on behalf of Yahaya Bello. Yakubu testified that he agreed to sell the property to them for 950 million naira, and that Ali Bello, under instruction from Yahaya Bello, insisted to pay for it in cash and in dollars. Very suspicious, right? Yakubu testified that Ali Bello invited him to their office and gave him a Ghana must go filled with dollar bills as a payment for the property they just acquired. On the 17th of April 2024, after many failed attempts by the EFCC to get a court appearance from Bello, the Federal High Court issued an arrest warrant as the EFCC filed fresh charges against the former governor on a 19-count charge bordering on money laundering, criminal breach of trust, and conversion of public funds, totaling a sum of 80.2 billion naira between 2016 and 2023. That same day, the EFCC stormed Benghazi Streets, Abuja, Yahaya Bello's private residence, armed with an active arrest warrant. But what was supposed to be a clean operation turned into a war zone. Reports say that there was a serious resistance from Bello's camp, gunshots rang out, a full-fledged shootout outside his mansion, and in the chaos, something wild happened.
And then all of a sudden, the current governor came in, and as soon as he came in, shouted, "Immunity!" and then EFCC paved the way.
Usman Ododo, the sitting governor of Kogi State, Bello's political godson, showed up at the scene.
Hours later, at about 4:15 p.m., the Kogi State governor is seen leaving the building. Attempts to get a clearer view to ascertain if the governor was alone in the car or is with the former governor Yahaya Bello was unsuccessful due to the tinted windows on the governor's car and the huge security presence.
With his influence as the governor and his cover of immunity, Ododo whisked Yahaya Bello away, shielding an active fugitive from arrest. The EFCC had had enough. They declared Yahaya Bello a wanted fugitive for looting the 80.2 billion naira. The most amusing fact about this case to me is how Yahaya Bello played hide and seek with Nigeria's legal system. For nearly a year, he dodged court dates, defied arrest warrants, and ran around the law like it was a game show. It's mind-boggling that a sitting governor will use his power and immunity to allow Bello to slip away and obstruct justice, allowing a wanted fugitive to hide in plain sight. This wasn't just a fraud case anymore. It became Nigeria's biggest mockery of the law in years. But here's where the whole thing turns from corruption to theatre. Somehow, and I mean somehow, a Kogi State High Court judge quietly handed Bello a secret restraining order. An injunction so bizarre, so judicially absurd that he essentially told the EFCC, don't touch him, don't arrest him, and don't even think of prosecuting him. This wasn't a legal loophole. It felt like a custom-made shield carved to fit his sins. A ruling so outrageous that legal experts across Nigeria were asking, wait, can a state judge even stop a federal agency? Spoiler alert, they can't, not lawfully. But in Nigeria, anything is possible for the right person, or should I say, with the right influence. This wasn't law, it became a movie where the judge wears a robe and the defendant writes the script. The judgment gave Bello enough cover to keep running, and to dodge not one, not two, but 5 court dates, making the trial stall for months, and allowing Bello to dodge arrest while the whole country watched. Bello managed to pull off one of Nigeria's most embarrassing legal charades in years. Even the Court of Appeal couldn't stomach it. On the 24th of August 2024, 3 justices came down hard, calling the ruling of the Kogi State High Court scandalous and a disgrace to due process. They overturned it immediately and reminded the world that no judge, no matter how rude, can protect anyone from answering criminal charges.
What I'm hearing is that you handled him, the case of former governor Yahaya Bello with kid's gloves. But you have a wanted man in your premises, almost literally on your doorstep, and you refuse to take him in, even if it were citizen's arrest, based on the fact that that he's wanted. You refuse to take him in based on that. It's very confusing for Nigerians to understand that.
But what happened next was so unreal. On the morning of September 18, 2024, Yahaya Bello, a declared fugitive who had repeatedly failed to appear in court, strode into the EFCC headquarters in Abuja, escorted by none other than Governor Ododo himself. To many Nigerians, it was a slap in the face. The man accused of looting billions walked into the heart of the headquarters of the EFCC and walked right back out. No cuffs, no arrests, and no justice.
There are eggs within the EFCC that collude with corrupt officials, through bribery to protect their interests. So it doesn't make the EFCC look good.
The EFCC would later claim that it was all a publicity stunt by Bello and his team. That Bello only loitered around the parking lot for a quick photo and never followed the due process to turn himself in. But that explanation only fueled public outrage. How does a wanted man walk into your front yard and still manage to escape?
That your officials then went to the government house in the evening to try to apprehend a man who walked in with his 2 legs and was free not to take pictures in your car park with almost impunity, without you doing anything about it. So why do they go in the evening to go and apprehend him?
That same evening, the EFCC tried to flip the script. Acting on intel, they launched an operation, tracking Bello to his hideout at the Kogi State Government Lodge in Abuja. This was meant to be their redemption story, their media win, but once again, Governor Ododo intervened, shielding Bello with the full weight of his immunity. It was like deja vu, a repeat of what happened on April 17th, where Governor Ododo's last-minute appearance had also sabotaged a federal arrest. The pattern was becoming clear. One man was defying Nigeria's justice system, and another was enabling him. The EFCC was furious. It put its foot down. On the 24th of September 2024, the EFCC slammed Bello with a fresh 16-count indictment, separate from his pending 19-count charge, and the allegations were staggering.
The defendants were alleged to have used funds from the Kogi State Treasury to acquire properties in highbrow areas within the Federal Capital Territory and in Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
Between 2016 and 2024, Bello and his inner circle had allegedly looted 110.4 billion naira from Kogi State government. Money used to fund luxury real estate purchases in Abuja and Dubai, amongst other high-end indulgences. At this point, the total alleged loot had crossed 190 billion naira.
Yahaya Bello, executive governor of Kogi State.
Subscribe to my channel.